Welcome back to the Football Terrace. Manchester United's pursuit of Tchouameni has moved a step closer after very positive talks with the players' representatives in the past 24 to 48 hours. They are eyeing a potential move for the very talented Monaco midfielder. The club, as in Monaco, have made their stance very clear publicly that they do not wish to sell this player over the course of this summer. Tchouameni and his representatives are open to a move. The Premier League is very attractive to them. After having early conversations in the window with Chelsea, that deal seemingly not progressing. Manchester United have not agreed personal terms at this moment in time and will not start direct conversations with Monaco until that has been achieved. This is a player that has been on their radar for a fair amount of time, along with other players such as Camavinga. Camavinga's number one choices are Real Madrid, Barcelona, and PSG ahead of Manchester United, so it stands to reason that they would look at alternatives. This deal could happen this window, according to Sasha Tavolieri. That's something he confirmed to me privately yesterday. This deal could happen this window, but nothing done or agreed yet. Man United are going to progress with personal terms to see whether they can get it over the line. In relation to the other big story that's circulating right now, Harry Kane's transfer to Manchester City, no official bids have been placed. This has been confirmed by a number of journalists now, and it's what I was informed yesterday afternoon. Of course, on the Football Test, we will remain very, very neutral. We're open to all angles, all reports, but more importantly, your views and your opinions. What has now transpired is that Manchester City may be looking at alternatives. That in itself makes complete and utter sense. The likes of Dusan Vlahovic, heavily linked with moves to Atletico Madrid and, of course, Tottenham Hotspur as the potential replacement of Harry Kane, are now being looked at by Manchester City. It's clear to most people that a focal point up front and a clear goal scorer, a hardened goal scorer, someone that can put the ball in the back of the net on a regular basis is needed, especially with Lukaku now joining Chelsea Football Club. The pressure is on for Manchester City to get this done. I'm joined this morning for the full hour by my guy, my brother, Igao, as my co-host. We're going to take your calls, but first of all, smash that like button, subscribe to the Football Terrace. You know what comes next, people. Let's do this. Good morning. How are you, Igao? How are you, mate?
I'm doing good, man. I'm chilling, Terry. After yesterday, calmed down a little bit.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, interesting day for Arsenal, wasn't it? With all that news that was coming out. Really, really interesting news, wasn't it? In relation to Arsenal's transfers. I mean, you've practically got two deals over the line and moving forward. But as I say, it's that simple case of, are they going to be good enough for Arsenal moving forward?
More importantly, you don't have to wear that Liverpool kit.
Yes, that is very, very true indeed. Very, very true indeed. I have to say I'm happy about that. I really, really am. In terms of the transfer window, are you satisfied with what Arsenal have done?
It is very underwhelming, Terry. Very underwhelming. Spending all that money and coming out with practically the same team and 4 backups. It's not really exciting at all when you think about it in the grand scheme of things. What have you done? Ramsdale, who's a backup goalkeeper until next year when he starts. You got Lokonga, Tavares. You got Ben White, who's a starter, yes, but at the moment, I'm not too excited. And I forgot somebody. Ramsdale.
Yeah. No, I hear you on that. Yeah, I mean, I would understand not being excited about that, but we do have some breaking news right now, ladies and gentlemen, that we need to jump into straight away. Simon Phillips here has stated that he's hearing that Chelsea have held fresh talks with Tchouameni's representatives, some big decisions to make in the final stages of the window. Simon Phillips, I cannot believe he isn't verified yet across social media. Very credible guy, lovely guy that I've spoken to privately, mainly via messages. Interesting indeed to see this news come out this morning, but also not surprising. Manchester United, of course, heavily linked with Tchouameni in the last couple of days, or last day or so. That's really picking up pace. It doesn't surprise me that Chelsea Football Club would then pick up the phone and start to move the deal forward and start to maybe progress this, because he has been a long-term target of Chelsea. And he's a player that I have to admit, I didn't know too much about him until the start of this summer. He was a name that everybody's been talking about. So you start to research him and look into him, and highly talented, very well coveted in the world of football. And seemingly, like, there seems more excitement from Chelsea fans and Man United fans about signing Tchouameni than maybe going after a Declan Rice. I wouldn't have thought that was going to be the case if someone said that to me 6 months ago. But Tchouameni on the lips of everybody, Man United in positive talks. Now it appears that Chelsea held those positive talks as well, or are looking to hold those positive talks.
Once again, Terry, it's one of those young, up-and-coming 21-year-old French center backs. It's not center backs, center midfielders. It's like, you know what you're going to get with them. You're going to get a level of physicality. You're going to get the technical ability, plus the work rate and the tackling that comes with playing in the French league. And they develop very well over there in the French league. And when you buy them, it's almost like sometimes they're like a duck to water when it comes to the Premier League. Sometimes it takes some time, but he is the alternative to Camavinga. He's a great alternative.
And that's it. And that's the whole point. As you say, he is a very good alternative. And I think, look, Chelsea looking at him, it makes complete and utter sense. Have Chelsea got headway in front of Man United? I would probably say yes, because they've held talks for earlier on in this summer. I think it's all going to come down to, when it comes to brass tacks, is one, who can get the deal struck on personal terms first. But I think that all centre very much around what's on offer for the player, how much game time do they think they're going to have. And I think that, I said this all summer, like Man United have a slight advantage over Chelsea when it comes to central midfield. It feels like we've got more of an open roster. However, this player may be looked at by Man United as one for the future. Chelsea might look at him as someone they want to play a little more regularly now. And I think that's what's going to be in Tchouameni's mind. Where am I going to get game time? How am I going to progress the best? Where are the options? Plus on top of that, some of it is going to come down to money. Like, if we're going to be blunt about this, and we need to be blunt about it, some of this is going to come down to money, isn't it? It's which club is going to be willing to pay him the most amount of money? Who's going to be willing to compensate him in the best way possible? And, Chelsea, they've got very deep pockets that they're about to get rid of. One thing that their advantage over Man United is they've got rid of a lot of players. It feels like they've got rid of a lot of players in the last few days, if that makes sense. So it's like they're clearing the decks, ready to be able to move into a sort of closing a deal like this. So
what about the wage structure? Their wage structure doesn't allow them to pay young players at the age of 21 as much as you guys would be willing to offer. Now, for example, Aaron Wan-Bissaka's on high wages. I don't think many people on Chelsea side are as high wages.
Do you know what it is? It's the wage-wise, it will be about looking at the quality. Everyone has to be careful. You always have to be careful when it comes to the wages of players, because you don't want to overpay a young player coming in, because the knock-on effect is all the other young players at your club then want more money. At the same time, though, if you sell the dream to a player, if Man United are saying, listen, we want you, we see you as the we want to put you next to Paul Pogba, we want to make you a centerpiece of our team. If you start whining and dining, this is where it's different now. This is why I don't think the likes of the Gary Nevilles of this world and the Souneses understand agents in the right way. If you start finessing me like that, like, I don't represent you, but if someone comes to me saying, "Oh, Terry, look, we want to work with a football therapist. We want a gal to be the main man of the show." It's like a company comes to us to build a show and they want you to be the main man. I'm getting you paid well. It's like, well, you obviously want him. So we're not just going to give him a menial £20 a show fee. You really want him. Like, how much do you want him? Let's push the envelope as far as we can to get you as much money as possible. And that's the absolute right thing for these agents to do, because 95% of football players are working class. They come from poor upbringings across the world. So let's get them as much money as possible. Let's take as much money out of the fat cat's pocket and let's put it into these players' pockets, because I'd much rather it there than sitting with the Glazers or sitting with some some fat cat businessman who's making loads of money off them. But right now, if you were to put a bet on it, who would you, if he's going to come to the Premier League, where do you think he'll end up? Man United or Chelsea? What's your hunch?
I think the Man United proposition would make more sense, since Chelsea's midfield is so stacked. He might not see the actual route into the midfield, and I honestly do see. I don't see how he would get into that Chelsea team. Where Manchester United, he could get into that team if there's only 1-2 injuries, and right now you could even make a case that he's better than Fred. So
yeah, look, I think the ceiling. The opportunity ceiling wise with him are very, very high. Like, I'm quite infused by this potential deal. I think it could be a very, very good piece of business for Manchester United if they're able to pull this off. Of course, Chelsea notorious, and it's interesting really because last night on the show we obviously on the Bet Victor show we did last night. Go check it out, people. It's on the homepage. Go check it out. Brilliant show last night with Anita, Daniel, KJ, Jess. Neeks, of course, loved it. What kind of stood out to me, KJ was talking about, we could beat Chelsea to another one of their main targets. And that's also maybe in the back of Chelsea's mind. We've lost out on a few people that we've been interested in the last year or so to Manchester United. Maybe they're going to look to put this big push in now to get this deal done, to get it over the line and make him a Chelsea player. But, only time's going to tell with these types of things. They're going to get over the lines. We're going to see what a few of these comments here are saying. Lots coming in from people. Make sure that like button has been smashed, though, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you get that done. In terms of the Tchouameni situation, Sasha Tevalieri, as I said yesterday, one of the most credible voices coming into the football world in transfers. And I made a little video backing him yesterday because I've reached out to him about nearly every deal that I've seen trending, purely to gauge an opinion. And only on 4, maybe 5 occasions, he's given me some what he's been told in terms of an agent said this, or the player has said that, or someone I know at the club has said X, Y, or Z. Most of the time, he said, I don't know anything about that deal. That's the kind of journalist. It's one of the reasons why I like working with Dean. It's why I like working with Pete. If I go to them about a deal, they'll say, I don't know. They'll do some research. I've reached out. No one knows too much. So we don't speak about it. And that makes me trust them. I wouldn't trust a journalist who has information, as in first-hand information on every transfer, because it's just impossible. So absolutely. Let's do some of these comments here. George says, Facts. Okay, they're arguing with each other. Sometimes I should read these before I go to anybody else.
I just want to say something. I don't think Chelsea care specifically about missing out on a target to Manchester United as much as the fans would. So it's more like a fan rivalry, less the actual clubs.
Yeah, no, I do get that. I don't think Chelsea care. I don't think Chelsea are going to be angry or be crying about it or frustrated or anything like that. But I do think that there's this element in football of this is one of our targets. This is someone that we want to bring into the football club. Tchouameni I get the sense with Tchouameni, and I'll stand by this for a while. I think Tchouameni is a player that Chelsea probably have medium-term views on, someone that they're looking at as a player that could be in our team in a couple of years' time. But if Man United get him now, that's it. It's maybe over forever for us in terms of signing him. A comment here from Action who says he won't even start at United. Tchouameni, Koundé, same agent, and also Chelsea were in for him since May. Listen, I hear you. I would say right now I would give Chelsea the upper hand. I completely agree with you. I think Chelsea most certainly have the upper hand in this deal. I would make them favorites. There's no doubt about it. We're going to bring KJ on very soon to have a chat with us in a moment as well. Make sure you smash that like button for us, please, ladies and gentlemen. Robbie Singh says probably the best transfer window for United post-Fergie. United are going about their business quickly and efficiently. Well, look, if they pull off Tchouameni and throw him into the middle, I think Man United fans, with Paul Pogba staying, I think Man United fans generally will be over the moon. Some won't be. Honestly, some of these Man United fans, you could give them the earth, the world, and every bit of piece of possession within it, and they would still moan that they don't have enough. So I'm not really too worried about them per se. But
it's a quality over quantity thing for you guys this summer. You've bought quality players. No one can say you haven't with the 2 guys you've brought in so far.
Yeah, mate, I agree. Listen, I agree completely. Man United have bought in quality players, which time well. It's it's very, very interesting indeed to see. I'm just intrigued to see what's going to happen next, how this is going to transpire, and everything else. I'm just very, very excited about the prospect of what this season could hold for Manchester United now, if that makes sense. I'm really, really intrigued about what could happen.
I'm happy to see Varane in the Premier League. I like Varane.
Yeah, I mean, how do you think he's going to do?
It's very different from playing in the French league or even playing in La Liga. You have to understand the Premier League is a lot more physical, and he's gonna have more bodies in and around the box, trying to disrupt him, trying to cause him problems. And I just want to see if his concentration levels and his awareness is as good as I thought it was. And also, when it comes to the pace and the power of the Premier League, I want to see if he buckles or not, because we have seen that center backs take longer to adjust to the Premier League. So I want to see if his class from Real Madrid can transfer. I don't know if it will specifically right away, but like all great center backs, I think eventually he'll get used to it.
Yeah, I think he will. I think his age. Listen, I think what people have got to be aware of is the fact that he's going to most definitely take a little bit of time to adjust. I think he's a little bit of time to adjust, and he's going to make mistakes. I think that's the bit for me which fans have to be aware of. He's going to make mistakes. He won't go through the season without missing a clearance or someone putting the ball through his legs or someone taking him on. It's just how he handles that from a purely from a banter point of view. How he handles that is going to be key. I've got a lot of faith in him because of the quality. You know what I mean? Champions League Varane. I rate the guy. Let's see what happens with it. We're going to move on to some other transfer stories soon. We will get KJ to join us momentarily as well, especially if he turns his camera on. It will definitely happen then. We'll get that sorted. We're going to get some more comments here. Terry Lewandowski wants you challenge. Do you reckon City wants a new challenge? I think you're trying to say.
Yeah, did you hear the report?
Yeah, I mean, look, that wouldn't surprise me. I think when it comes to Man City, they're now reported to be looking at Vlahovic. They're looking at him as a potential alternative to Harry Kane. There is the Lewandowski option that may now have presented itself. There's no doubt about it. That could become an option for Man City in the coming days, the coming weeks, as an example. Why not? Like, why not?
You shouldn't want that as a United fan, because that means Haaland could go to Bayern for 65.
He could go to Bayern anyway. I think. I honestly, like, it's. I look at it. It doesn't. We'll get onto that in a moment. Manchester City have not at this point put any official bid in since the initial bid of around £100 million before the Euros began, or just as the Euros began. It was around that time for Harry Kane. Conversations have been going on, intense conversations since last Thursday for the player to come in. But of course, City are expected to put a bid in, totaling somewhere in the region of 45 to 50 million pounds by the end of this week. However, it's long been said that City will not make this official bid for Harry Kane until they know it's going to be accepted. So, of course, these talks all happen behind closed doors, in secret, via intermediaries, whatever you want to believe. You know, lizards do it. You know, I mean, I reckon within 2 years, the transfers are going to be done and constructed by the Illuminati. That's how, like, cloak and dagger this is all becoming. And I'm not even joking. Like, everyone tries to pretend. Like, I was talking to a journalist last night and an agent of his. He introduced me. We were having a conversation yesterday evening about the James Maddison situation and why it didn't happen. That's going to be a video we'll do later on at the beginning of the season. Exactly why it didn't happen and exactly why they went for Odegaard in the end. And it's, by the way, it makes sense. It actually makes sense, but everyone tries to make it sound really like, I don't know, like a COVID operation, and it isn't. They haven't put that in yet. So, of course, Man City are now going to start to look at alternatives. So they're looking at Vlahovic. They may be looking at Lewandowski. There may be an opportunity here. But do you think, how important do you think it is that Manchester City sign a prolific goal scorer?
I think Man City cannot go another season playing the same way. You need to have flexibility in your game. You need to change slightly because you don't win a title and then go into the next season trying to play the exact same way and win it again. We've seen it happen numerous times. Man City always evolved, especially the years when they won it back to back. Chelsea, they won it, they lost, they won it again. Manchester United, as a Manchester United fan, you know yourself, Fergie always tried to evolve the team or change slightly. You can't go into it again expecting to play with a false nine. Get a striker in this season. It's integral to the way you play, and it will scare your opponents a lot more. Because if they continue to play the same way, eventually you'll get found out.
Yeah, I mean, found out is an interesting term for it, and I do understand that notion. For me, it's just a case of you do need someone to put the ball into the back of the net. Does that make sense? That you need someone to score goals for you. It almost becomes, it's not even like a bitter thing. Sometimes people take it as a bit of a bitter thing to say, but it's like, you need a goal scorer. And, Raheem Sterling has been a very good goal scorer for Tottenham, for Man City in recent years. But he didn't have a great end to last season. And if this season is like it was last season, then you end up in a situation. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
There's too much money allocated on players who are not producing.
Yeah. It's an interesting one for me. Yeah, they need goals. They need to get it done. Where do you see him going though? Who do you see being the striker they go for?
I think they're still going to go for Kane because I have this feeling that they're trying to get English players, and that's why they got Grealish. Now they're getting Kane. They're trying to get the best English players out there because my theory is that there's something going on behind the scenes about they're going to change the homegrown rule or something. This is just my feeling. And Man City and Arsenal are already starting to get prepared because we are the two teams that have the least homegrown players that are the top 6 teams. So that's what I think City's doing. That's why they paid 100 million for Jack Grealish, and it sort of makes sense. And that's why they're going for Harry Kane, because if you actually look at their squad, Terry, who actually is registered as homegrown? Their goalkeepers, Phil Foden, who else? Zinchenko, Kyle Walker, and now Grealish. They don't really have too many.
Mate, listen, I completely and utterly hear you on that. I do. We had a super chat that came through earlier that I may have missed. And I'm going to try and find it now because I don't like to miss super chats. I didn't see it come through. The comment here, though, from a Man City fan who says Vlahovic is 21, half the price. Go for him. And that is a logical train of thought to go for a player who is cheaper and who is younger. I'm not going to say has a higher ceiling than Harry Kane, but there's a lot of potential in him. There's no doubt about it. The other super chat we had was from Moon, who says Ollie would probably bench him all season. Listen, the Donny van der Beek thing's interesting. I know a lot of Man United fans pull on that, Donny van der Beek got benched and maybe he'd bench other midfielders. I think we might, as the season progresses, start to see a little bit more of Donny van der Beek. Maybe not in the opening few weeks. Football fans we've been a little bit spoiled for football, actually, since the restart of, after the first lockdown and the season was postponed. And then we did that summer of football, the intense European tournaments, and then the season began pretty much straight away. There was practically 2 games a week for all the big clubs for about 12 months. The opening 3 or 4 weeks of the Premier League season it's very sparse in terms of games. It's 1 game a week. There's no League Cup football for the Big 6 as a general rule, the ones that are in Europe anyway. And there's no midweek games. There's no European football. So it's 1 game a week. So you actually don't often see too many of your squad players in those opening few weeks. So don't be surprised if Donny van der Beek is used sparingly in that time if Bruno and Pogba are both fully fit. It's when the League Cup and the Champions League begins, that's when you're going to start, because that's for me when he should be given his opportunity. There's no way Donny van der Beek in any way, in any shape, or in any form should be getting started in games right now over Bruno or Paul Pogba when it's 1 game a week. He is not as good overall. He might have some technical ability that's better than Bruno. He might have some things that he can do that are better than Paul Pogba. But as an overall football player, he's not better. But I think we will start to see more of him moving forward. Vlad here
just come off the bench.
Yeah, for now he will. And then start some games when the League Cup begins, maybe when the Champions League starts some rotation. That is then his opportunity to impress. And if he impresses, then I want to see him get more game time. A comment here from Vlad, who says Tchouameni has admitted back in 2019 he wants to play with Pogba. He has also said that he likes United, and that was said when United wasn't really in a good state. So hopefully he chooses Man United. Look, I think that's a fair point to bring up. Again, logical. There's no bad logic within that. What I would say about Tchouameni is, in terms of that example, is Jadon Sancho grew up a Chelsea fan and he joined Man United. So it holds some water. Paul Pogba might not even be here in a year's time. So
Pogba's an Arsenal fan.
Who?
Pogba.
Oh, I didn't even know that. There we go. Super chat here says, happy anniversary, Igal. Stay blessed. Of course, it was your wedding anniversary yesterday, wasn't it? So yeah, congratulations for that, my friend. Congratulations.
Thanks,
not a problem at all. Someone here says, Terry, Lewandowski news. Well, I'll get the Lewandowski news up on the screen so we can kind of go through it as a collective here. And when we say it's news, it's.
Can I just, while you're talking about that, can I just go back to the City Vlahovic story? That makes no sense, personally. City are not the team to go and get a 21-year-old center back. They've tried something like that with, striker. Why do I keep saying center back today? I'm sorry. Striker. It doesn't seem like it's something they would do because they've done it before with Gabriel Jesus. It hasn't really hit the ground running. I think they need the ready-made product to get them over the line to win the Champions League. And Harry Kane does that for them. He gets them over the line. He brings a player into their team that is already a Premier League great to a certain degree. And all he's missing is the trophies, and they can provide him with that. I think if Harry Kane goes to City, they reach another level. If they get Vlahovic, or I always struggle to say his name also, Terry. I don't know if it's gonna be that big of a difference besides just having a body.
Yeah, look, I totally understand that. I feel like maybe that isn't like the interesting thing is this. One thing I find interesting about Pep Guardiola and buying a prolific striker, we all know he needs a prolific goal scorer, but why isn't there the same pressure on him as I've seen placed on other managers, say like Oli or more so Jose Mourinho in the past, around why doesn't Pep Guardiola, the greatest manager people say since Fergie, why doesn't he develop someone? Why doesn't he make Gabriel Jesus better? Why doesn't he get Ferran Torres into the player that a lot of people tip that he would be? You know, why does it have to be a £150 million striker? Why can't it be a 50, 60 million pound up and coming striker that Pep Guardiola turned into a killer? What I always find interesting is we have certain, and I'm not having a pop here at Guardiola. It's more of a fandom thing. We have certain managers and clubs where if they're buying, it's looked at as like treacherous to football. Why don't they develop? Why don't they grow? But yet when other managers do it, say Pep, nobody bats an eyelid. I always love that kind of that changing of that sort of changing thought.
You know what my theory is, Terry? My theory is he hasn't been put in a situation where he had to do that. He's always been at a club, Barcelona, where they get expensive signings, Bayern Munich, where they get expensive signings, Man City, where they get great signings for amazing prices. And they've always had the top of the top. So when you're at these top clubs, Terry, you don't go and get your third or fourth target. You get your first target because they want to come to play for you.
No, I do get that, but at the same time, buying a young player who's highly like, and maybe I'm wrong.
Thiago Alcantara.
Sorry,
he did that at Barcelona when he brought the academy players. He did that with Phil Foden. He just never paid for them.
No. So I get that he's done that with a handful of young talents that come through, and I do get that. But it's when there's a hole, it's develop someone, and I'm not talking about buy someone. Like what my point is that it shouldn't be Harry Kane or bust. There are other young, like Vlahovic is an example. I think if they'd have gone for Lautaro Martinez 5 weeks ago with a 70, 80 million pound bid, that could have been accepted. And look, I think it's an interesting one. Arsenal to win the league with Ramsdale is what Stuart has got to say here. A little bit of banter for the morning.
Give Ramsdale a break. He could be David Seaman. He could be Almunia. You never know.
He could also be who was that guy? Who was that really bad goalie you had?
That's what I said, Almunia.
Oh, and I was thinking of someone worse than him, to be honest. But there we go. Imagine that though. You let Martinez go for 17 million or something, and you buy 30 million Ramsdale. You had like one of the best goalies in the league, man. You let him go for like
No planning.
It's terrible. It's like, it must be painful. Viewers, make sure you've smashed the like button this morning. You can still enter our competition for August. If you super chat in anything over the value of £5, $5, whatever it may be, we will put you into a prize draw to win a shirt of your choice. I did chase up with accounts yesterday, and the shirt should be ordered when they do all of their purchasing over the course of this week. So Maria Williams and Mark Neighbour, your shirts will be ordered and sent out to you. Just takes a bit of time now that the Football Terrace is actually run like a business. It isn't just me sitting here with a list of things to do on my debit card. Like, it has to go through channels and requests and purchase orders. I had to set up a damn purchase order. You know what I mean? All the paperwork that's needed. Another super chat here says, I really want to know what Pep can do with this Arsenal team, but Klopp will change them in a year. Do you think someone like Pep or Klopp could get this Arsenal squad into the Champions League, say, Gal?
Listen, I think if we had a better manager last year than Arteta, we would definitely squeeze out at least maybe 6 more points. We could be closer to that Champions League spots. We're not as far away as people make it seem. It's just we just need to be run properly as a club.
I do get that. We're going to take a look at the Lewandowski news now, but a recap for anyone who's just tuned in. First of all, you've got to hit that like, but we should easily be on 750 likes by now, people. We are looking to try and achieve a 50% ratio for live viewers versus the likes. You know, it's just about supporting the Football Terrace. You're here for that reason. So get that done, please, my wonderful people.
Smash that.
Tchouameni has held positive talks with Manchester United Football Club. No personal terms have been agreed and no direct communication between the clubs right now. But Man United are pursuing this as a genuine potential option. A bid could happen this summer if personal terms are agreed between the two parties. And according to Simon Phillips this morning, very credible Chelsea content creator, writer, I'm going to call him a journalist. I don't know if he classes himself as one, but I read his stuff and it's very journalistic, very, very good indeed. Has claimed that he has been told that Chelsea have now started talks again with Tchouameni. There could be a dogfight here, Man United versus Chelsea, for this very talented young midfield player. We've just spoken about Harry Kane, that no new official bid has gone in, according to a number of sources, including Fabrizio Romano, that says nothing has changed yet. He tweeted that yesterday morning. And on top of that, City now looking at alternative options. But I do want to talk here about the situation with Robert Lewandowski. An update from Sky Sports this morning. Let's go and have a look at what they're saying. So as we can see here, Sky have said that Robert Lewandowski wants a new challenge away from Bayern Munich, but the club has valued him at more than £100 million. Let's see what they said here via this Twitter feed.
Yeah, Robert Lewandowski, one of the best in the world, the FIFA and UEFA Player of the Year. And what we're being told here at Sky Sports News is that Robert Lewandowski wants a new challenge away from Bayern Munich. Let me just bring you some context on this. Robert Lewandowski turns 33 on Saturday. He has two.
I didn't know they were going to show footage on that, so I'm going to stop that right now before I get a copyright claim. I thought it would just give me them talking in the studio. So we'll go back to this just in case I get messed up there by whoever. In fairness, the Bundesliga isn't as bad as the Prem, but there we go. What do you make of this news, though? Can you see can you see anybody paying £100 million or closer to Robert Lewandowski?
No chance, especially in the COVID market. There's no way anybody's paying 100 million. Man City would be crazy to spend that type of money. And outside of the Premier League, you're not going to find anybody spending 100 million on any player, let alone spending it on Lewandowski at his age. So I think it's very unlikely that they see anywhere near that valuation. If they're going to get anything for him, how many years does he have left in his contract? Am I mistaken?
So it's two, this is what I would say. His current market valuation, I've checked it. I've been checking it while we've been talking across three different publications, is around £50 million. That's his market valuation.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. And he has 2 years remaining on his current contract. So, and he's 32 years of age and he's turning 33 in 3 days time. So like people are talking about Harry Kane not being worth 150 at 28. This man's 5 years, like 4 to 5 years older. There's no way you're getting £100 million for him, in my opinion.
That is ridiculous. If he's worth 100 million at the age of 33, for them on the open market, nobody's going to pay that. They're going to be lucky if they even get 75.
Yeah. Well, look, this is his birthday here. Like, look, everyone's questioning his age. His birthday is the 21st of August, and he's 32 right now. So that means in 2 days' time, sorry, he turns 33. A few people are saying his contract runs out in 2024. It says here on Transfer Market 2023, there's probably a year extension clause in there that Bayern Munich can push forward. But yeah, for me, there is absolutely no way, no shape, no form that any club with a brain cell spends £100 million on a 33-year-old striker.
What about PSG?
Do they need him?
If Mbappe goes, they have so much money burning a hole in their pocket. They might just do something silly and get both Ronaldo and Lewandowski and just have a team full of 35-year-olds as a striking force, and Neymar.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they could do it, but £100 million is a lot of money. He's obviously on massive wages as well, but I'm not surprised that he wants a new challenge. I think he's in the twilight of his career. He needs to give it a go. Jack Taylor here with Super Chat says this transfer window has really shown how Arsenal lack ambition, and it's been the same since RVP and Fabregas left the club. I'm ashamed by my football club. Gal, do you agree with Jack there?
This has been one of the most confusing transfer windows I've ever been a part of, and I've ever actually listened to. And I agree with him to a certain degree. It just makes no sense. I feel like the club has not actually solved any issues besides getting in bodies. We didn't actually get any starters in besides Ben White. Our team is practically the same as last year.
Do you know what I find really concerning, like legitimately concerning about the Lokonga situation? You'll remember these streams when we spoke to Sasha, when we spoke to Christophe Terreur. They spoke about him, and I don't want to put words in their mouths, but not being ready, him not being someone that Arsenal were even looking at to be a starter. He was someone that Arsenal have moved for a little bit sooner rather than later because of other interesting parties. But he wasn't looked at as someone that was meant to be the main guy. And I know we're only one game into the season, so let's not get ahead of ourselves. But if he starts playing week in, week out, I worry that even a young man as raw and talented as him could burn out. I hate the fact that all your pressure is on Smith Rowe, Saka, maybe now towards Lokonga. It's crazy. You cannot rely on the. I'm not going to do a Alan Hansen and say you can't win anything with kids. But Man United's class of '92, Barcelona's amazing class that came through in the mid-noughties together. They were surrounded by world-class. They were surrounded by brilliant to world-class senior football players in their team. Arsenal building it around kids, but the senior players being not good enough, injury-prone, only there for money, fighting with managers. Honestly, it's like I said, and I know you put it in the group chat. I've been praising Arsenal's approach in the market all summer, and I stand by what I said, 100%.
I DM'd you something. I showed you the actual image of after the window and before the window, what our team looked like last year and this year.
No, I've seen that image somebody put out. I saw it, and like I said before, mate, I was infused by Arsenal's pursuit in this window. The youngsters and the squad players they went for, I thought were good. I think Ben White's a very good centre back. I'm not going to change my mind on that. I think that Lokonga's highly talented. Tavares, we'll see what happens with that one. But it was then you were linked with Maddison's and Lautaro Martinez's, and these deals were there to be done. They were hard, but they were there to be done. And, what I was told yesterday, but I was talking to a journalist and talking to an agent friend that he introduced me to, we were going through a few transfer stories, trying to build up a bit of a deal to expand the Done Deal show. We're just having a bit of a chat. And he said, well, and Arsenal were all were in and working on Maddison. And then essentially, and the reason they were doing it is initially Real Madrid wanted over £50 million for Odegaard, and Arsenal were like, well, that's too much money for a player of his quality. They felt it was too much. They were willing to pay up to about £60 million of cash and players for James Maddison. And then because it feels like Real Madrid are working on something right now, they're clearing the decks of players. Could they be about to make an Mbappe move? We'll see on that. But for whatever reason, it might just be financial difficulties, but they've been clearing the ranks. They've been getting rid of players. Nobody came in for Odegaard at the price they wanted. So they suddenly put it out into the market that they would accept up to £40 million for him. So maybe a base of 30 rising up to 40. And that's exactly what Arsenal have done. That was one of the reasons for moving away from Maddison, because Odegaard was seen. He was a top target for Arsenal. There's no denying that. but he was seen as cheaper. It was, well, we can go and get Odegaard for 30 million base. Madison's going to cost us 70 million. When I'm listening to that, and fans are going to spin this. Fans are going to say, yeah, but no, Terry, he was our number one target, and the price dropped, so we went back for him. But if he was your number one target, and you were looking at potentially spending 70 on Madison, but they wanted 50 for Odegaard, you'd have still just paid 50 for Odegaard. It can't be your number one target. If you think, no, but Madison's better, why would you be happy with your number one target not being as good as James Maddison? When you actually break it down and you sieve through the bullshit, Arsenal have gone for the cheaper alternative. So as I say, I was very enthused by their processes, the way they were going about things. However, in the end, in the cold light of day, when it's come to crunch time, they were turned down with 3 or 4 offers. They put a bid in of around 50 odd to 60 million. I think 50 base rising to 60 for Maddison. They were told we want 70 million cash. Of course, in installments. They accepted it in installments. They rejected 3 offers of players plus cash. And then only after the Odegaard price was dropped by Real Madrid did they change and go back to him. That doesn't sound to me like the number one target story that they're trying to spin. I believe he's been a priority in the past. So are they lying in the way they word it by saying he's always been a number one target? Other options arose. And I feel like they've scrimped and scraped and they've gone for a cheaper alternative. And, as my dad taught me when it comes to looking after my car, cheap is expensive. If you buy cheap tires, they wear down quicker. You put in cheap oil, the engine breaks down sooner. You put in the cheapest type of petrol or fuel, your car breaks down. Cheap is expensive. And I worry about the cost of Arsenal not spending an extra £20 million on a Maddison level player. And the fact is, Maddison and Lautaro Martinez were willing to join Arsenal if deals with their respective clubs could be done. And that would be the bit I'd be and I'm not having a go at Arsenal here. Some Arsenal fans are going to look at, oh, you're a Man United fan having a pop. I'm not. I'm a football fan looking at rival football fans being exploited by their football club. And I don't like it.
Let me jump in quickly.
Go on,
there's an element of truth to everything that has come out this window. There is truth that we're interested in all these players. There's an element of truth that the clubs have done stuff behind closed doors. There's an element of truth that one person might be looked at as more favorable, like Maddison might have been the target, or Odegaard might have always been favored. But it doesn't mean either one was the number one target. The club is going to spin it in whichever way by telling people, hey, you do me a favor by saying this. I'm not saying they're lying, but they're basically telling us what they've heard. And their job as reporters are to tell us what they've heard. So if they're telling us this is what they're telling them, they're going to put it out there. Yeah, and that's their job, and I understand that. Yeah, as a fan, I'm just frustrated because I've spent upwards of 2 months talking about Awar, Maddison, Tammy Abraham, all these guys who just are don't even forget. Remind me about Buendia, who are nowhere near actually getting holding up the shirt. They as close as the 2 clubs speaking to the player and the agent. That's it, and that's just the sad part.
Well, this is the thing, though, with the, and I totally. Someone here says, and I'm not. I agree with you. Odegaard was our top target. Fabrizio stated that, and he has maintained that. I believe him. I'm not challenging Fabrizio Romano. Fabrizio Romano is telling you what he's been told, and we know that because when Fabrizio Romano told us that Wijnaldum was definitely going to Barca, when he told us that Messi was definitely staying at Barca, when he told us that Lukaku it was untouchable, it was impossible to get him away from Inter Milan, he was telling us what he got told by the club. Fabrizio Romano doesn't get those things wrong. The clubs change their stances or players change their minds. You're wrong when you make, like, I get things wrong when I make predictions. I think this is going to happen based on what, Terry? Based on my assumptions. You can get assumptions wrong. If I speak to Man United today and they say, we're not buying Tchouameni, and I say, Man United told me they're not buying Tchouameni, I'm delivering you can call it a fact, or you can call it, I'm delivering you a direct message from the club. If tomorrow morning, Ollie says, actually, let's go in for him, doesn't make me wrong. It makes the information changeable. And my point is this, and I'm not trying to pour smoke on the deal, is if Odegaard was your number one target, then for me, like, you bidded for Emi Buendia first and foremost. You went for him first of all.
Yeah. You
moved away from Odegaard when he was deemed too expensive, but then went for a more expensive player and offered more money to Leicester for Maddison than what Real Madrid were asking for Odegaard. If he was your number one target, that means you think he's better. It doesn't make logical sense. However, I think Odegaard at times has been the main target. But also back in January, you tried to get Buendia then before you went for Odegaard as well. So that's my point to people. I'm just saying, it's not about believing Fabrizio or believing Christophe Terrer or Simon Jones or whoever. It's about looking at what actually happens and being logical. That's all it comes down to. You don't go for Buendia twice, 2 windows running before you go for Odegaard and then believe Odegaard was your number one target. No one does that. I don't try. I don't put a bid in for my second favorite house before I try and buy my first. When you're applying for universities, do you put your first option first or do you put your first option third?
Terry, let me just say this. This is what Arsenal wants us fans to believe, that we have not missed out on our number one targets since the Kroenkes have taken full order. Every single report has come out since the Kroenkes have taken full control of the club has been that Arsenal's number one target was Thomas Partey. Remember, even though Aouar was the last, that we were fighting until the last day to get Aouar, Thomas Partey was always our number one target. This summer, Odegaard's always been our number one target. And supposedly, Pepe was always the number one target the year before that. So every single year, they're just making it seem like the number one target is the big fish that we get.
And that's why it's we see through it. And look, Man United did the same thing this summer. We just pulled it off. Our number one centre-back target was not, and has never been, in the last few years anyway, Raphael Varane. He then became available, and we put a lot of time into getting that deal done. If we missed out on Raphael Varane and then went and got Pau Torres, I would not be sitting here going, yeah, but he was always our number one target. It would be, he was always a priority, but then a new priority came in and we didn't land him. It's okay to accept that, do you know what? I'm happy with Odegaard. I know the club always wanted him, but I really would have preferred Maddison, and the club really wanted Maddison. It's okay to admit that out loud. I don't understand it. We're going to start bringing on some calls now, but there is some breaking news we want to go to just before that, people. Fabrizio Romano has confirmed here that Odegaard will sign his new contract with Arsenal today. The agreement will be until June 2026, options included. That will be to extend it by a year, most likely. Real Madrid are also preparing their official statement. Ramsdale deal between Arsenal and Sheffield United will also complete very, very soon. I mean, not new news. We kind of all knew this was on the horizon and going to happen there. But there we go. Arsenal very, very close to getting those deals done and over the line. I want to say a big thank you here, by the way, to Scott for becoming an official member of the Football Terrace. Signed up to be an Academy member. Thank you very, very much indeed.
Big up, Scott.
Absolutely. We're going to bring KJ on now to have his say with us. We're going to open the lines as well for you to phone in and have your say. I want to talk about, of course, Tchouameni. I want to know what you think. So recap for anyone just tuning in. Tchouameni to Man United. Positive talks held. Reports now that Chelsea are coming back in for Tchouameni. But we are talking Arsenal. We are talking Man City's transfer pursuits as well. And another player we haven't even mentioned so far today is Ndombele, also looking for a potential move away. Listen, if Man United can't sign Tchouameni, why not test, if he really wants out, Ndombele at Man United? Imagine a midfield of Pogba, Ndombele, and Paul Pogba. Oh, honestly, that's illegal. That must be illegal. Ladies and gentlemen, smash that like and share button. Let's do this. Yes, gentlemen. KJ, how you doing, bro?
Not too
Good
bad.
morning, KJ.
What's up, dude?
Good. I want to get your first thoughts straight away on the Tchouameni situation, if I can, please.
Yeah. If we've had positive talks with his camp, that's really good. Positive signs. We got Pereira going out on loan to Flamengo very soon, so that's going to get done. Jesse Lingard might be going to West Ham. There's rumors about West Ham coming back in for him towards the end of the window. So this is a deal that could get done. I know a lot of Man United sources and a lot of Man United Twitter accounts who are close to the club are saying to focus on loans, to focus on sales, but anything can happen towards the end of the window if certain things happen. So if we do get the Jesse Lingard out the door, I can see us definitely going in for Tchouameni. And yeah, man, he'll be an excellent signing. Chelsea coming in for him though, it's not really a surprise because how many reports are coming reports there are about them going in for him anyway. It'll be a tough battle. I think Man United could win it. I think Man United could beat Chelsea to him, just for the fact that we will have more space for him in that double pivot midfield. We could give him more game time, and he could easily start over Fred and McTominay. With Chelsea, he have to try and compete with Kante, with Kovacic, and with also Jorginho. So as a young player who's been playing first team football for a while now, what challenge do you think you want to take on? And I think it's for him, in terms of development and progression, you go and take on the Man United midfield challenge, because you've got Paul Pogba there, you've got Bruno, you've got a plethora of attacking talent in front of you and great defenders behind you. It'll be, I think, the perfect place for him to go, personally. But yeah, it's going to be a tough battle if both Chelsea and United go in for him. But I think we can just pip them, just slightly.
Yeah. Is he either of your first choices for midfield, or do you guys prefer someone like a Camavinga, someone who's ready to start right away?
No, he's more ready. He's more ready than Camavinga.
Yeah, he's a little bit older, I think, as well.
Yeah.
Do you know what I would say about that? See, I'm going to not hypocrisize myself here. I don't believe Tchouameni is... I think Man United have been looking for it. If I go back to what Dean has said all summer, Man United have been looking for a midfielder that is a squad player for now, but a star for the future. So a Camavinga or a Tchouameni would fit the bill for that. I think Camavinga was the number one choice. But this is where football fans have to learn to grow thick skin, to become a little bit tougher and more resilient to facts. It's been said all summer that staying in France this year was highly likely for Camavinga. Maybe he'll go to Paris Saint-Germain if they come in for him. But the player's dream is to go to Real Madrid or Barcelona, that mainly Real Madrid. So we know Camavinga could be our number one choice. But if we're second or third option for him, we have to then start working on other deals. It's legitimately how life works. You know, even when Man United were at the peak of their powers under Fergie, we went for players that decided not to join us. Paul Gascoigne was a number one target. Spurs got him. Alan Shearer was a number one target for certain positions. He went to Newcastle. Gabriel Batistuta was a huge target for us once upon a time. We didn't get him. You know, this has happened many, many times to the Manchester United Football Club. It's happened to Arsenal this summer. It's going to happen to every single club. What I said already, what's starting to really wind me up about transfer news is how it's not even the journalists. I don't care what the journalists do, because the journalists only give you information. It's your job to use your brain. It's how we all suddenly buy into this notion that everything our clubs have done this summer is exactly what we all planned. Since fucking when has that ever happened to any? Like I said, within a year's time, the Illuminati's running this shit, bro. It's going to be, this was, honestly, this signing we've made now, this 21-year-old, we planned this from when he was 8 years old. How do I know that? Or Jurgen Klopp, he pictured at a game that the guy was at when he was 8 years of age. It's been in the makings. We're literally going to turn it into this like warped sort of futuristic bollocks. Honest to God, it's now.
It's getting crazy because Varane wasn't part of the plan. We were planning to not go into this transfer window targeting Pau Torres or I forgot who else was there. Ben White was rumored. We weren't thinking of Varane. Varane was a pipe dream. We saw that he was available and we're like, right, change of plans. Let's switch it up. Let's go and get Varane. And we got it done. And got it done for a very good price. Same with Tchouaméni. He is an option that's come available. And Man United probably looked at it. It's like, Camavinga probably ain't going to come to us. He probably doesn't want to come to us anyway, even if we gave him the money. Let's go get a player who fits the same profile and suits the team and actually might be available to and actually might want to come. And that's fine. I'm cool with that.
Are you seeing a change in approach? Are you seeing a change in approach, guys, from Manchester United?
It's not okay. I think it's a slight. I don't think it's a change in approach. I'm actually getting to a point now. I think it's a change of who's doing it. And the difference is when I used to run a sales team that I had, I looked after at one of the banks I worked for. When I took over, we put a new process in, but that process didn't really take off until I basically sacked 5 people and employed 5 new people. Over the course of a year, I had to performance manage people out because they weren't good enough and bring in people that were actually good at the job. But the process didn't change, but we delivered. So we've got better people doing the business now. We've got football people doing football jobs. And I think that matters. The process is there. But I'm not going to protect Man United. People think that when I spoke about advanced talks between Maddison and Arsenal, everyone's like, oh, it wasn't advanced. Advanced means a bid's been accepted and they're just negotiating the finer details. No, that's a formality legal review that the players don't have any real part in. Even the agents don't get heavily involved in. It's done between lawyers. It's boring. No one cares about it. Man United right now are sitting down in intense meetings with the representatives of Tchouameni to get him to agree to join Man United. If Tchouameni agrees to join, then the deal is 100% in Man United's hands. It's about us then getting a deal done with Monaco. I won't sugarcoat it and say, actually, we never officially spoke to Monaco, so we were never really looking at him. Bullshit. Man United right now are 100% trying to sign Tchouameni. If Chelsea get him, or if the player says no to us, we've fouled in that pursuit. You don't sit with representatives and start talking personal terms if you don't want to sign the player. Fans have got to wake up and smell the coffee. They've got to smell the coffee. And do you know what? Leicester fan here said Maddison is close, they said. Maddison joined Arsenal Football Club, and Arsenal were around about £10 million away from the asking price. That, in my opinion, is close. That's well close, bruv. Do you know what I mean? Like, if KJ's like, oh, Terry, I might be leaving soon. Sky Sports have offered me a deal. What they offer? He goes, oh, they've offered me a really good package. I really want to join them, but they just need to increase my salary by £1,000. That's really close. But then they don't offer the £1,000 extra that KJ needs, and they're like, well, I'm not leaving my current job then. That's still close to happening. Do you know what I mean? That's what we're talking here. We're talking small amounts of money. Mike here says, I'm heading to London today for a few days. See if you was around. I'll buy you a drink. Mike, why don't you come to the studio tomorrow night for the launch of our brand new show? If you're in London, swing by Angel. I'll send you the address. Get yourself along to the new studio tomorrow night. There we go. Will here says, Terry speaks huge sense. I like the compliment. What I'm going to say to that is I'm not speaking sense. I'm just speaking facts on transfers. Like, I just get annoyed. Honestly, I've seen it so much this year. Like, you see someone tweet going, oh, no official talks. But we know there's no official talks because Man United talks now not official. It'll be an intermediary talking to a rep. But I'll still call it what it is. That intermediary isn't doing it without Man United's permission. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, if I send KJ with a message to tell a gal something, that's still me telling a gal something. It's not like I didn't say that. It came out of KJ's mouth. Who fucking believes this shit? Come on, wake up, smell the coffee. It's a madness, honestly. It drives me insane. It drives me insane. I've got a little treat here, legend. I don't know if you've seen this. You're going to be seeing a little montage come out at some point tomorrow. But who remembers this very, very classic football terrace moment? I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I'm good, man. Who has?
What was the comment?
Ladies and gentlemen. I'm good. On that, ladies and gentlemen, what is the word? There's a collection of words that goes together with that video. If you're part of the Football Terrace alumni, I want to see it in the comments. There's two words together. Okay, I know United gal. We'll let the audience do this. What words go with? We've already got it there. Look at that. Dilly. Absolutely dilly. That was a funny day, boys. I love that. Honestly, that was one of my most favorite streams I ever did.
Yeah, I didn't know that existed until yesterday when you put in the GC fam. But yeah, talking about strikers and stuff. This news for Man City, we all agree that this is just them trying to make Levy budge, right? Like, they're actually not going to sign this brother.
Yeah. What? The opposite. They're going to get him. It's just this whole thing is to make it look like Daniel Levy is doing everything last minute because they don't have everything sorted out for when he's leaving. They still I think
who are you talking about?
Kane deal. This is my presumptive guess. I think the Kane deal is going to get done, but Spurs are being given time to get everything in order before the deal is completed.
That's what I'm saying. They're not getting Vlahovic.
Oh, I thought you meant Kane wasn't there.
Oh, there we go.
I would just say Kane, bro.
Yeah, we've just got a few. We've got a few super chats to do here. Suts nuts, of course. Man like Josh from Down Under. He says here, these guys need bedding in, need time and patience. I think you talk about the Arsenal transfers. I think that's very, very true. Jack Taylor here says that's why we should have held on to Luis. Do you think, Gal, this super chat here from Jack Taylor says you should have held on to David Luiz for another year. Do you agree with that?
Eventually, we had to move on from David Luiz. I'm okay with Ben White. I get the premise of holding on to David Luiz, but at the end of the day, Ben White is younger, scope to grow, and he just as good when it comes to ball playing ability. I'm okay with moving on David Luiz for Ben White. Don't forget the errors that David Luiz used to make.
Yeah. Also, we've got one here from Phantom of Many Topics who says, hands off Terry, no poaching, Tchouameni from Chelsea. He's got Phantom of Many Topics, has got to say in his first super chat there. He also come out with another super chat saying, seriously, my final super chat, I'm not going to keep chasing after missed super chats. Yeah, I mean, I didn't miss your super chat. I was just waiting to read them out, my bro, because obviously we're in the middle of other conversations, so it's hard to read them all out in one go. Definitely wasn't missed. Just read it out for you there, my friend. He said, hands off Tchouameni, no poaching. We've got another one that's come through here from father of Timothy Werner. The problem is when you put super chats through, because of the speed of all the other comments, if we're in the middle of a conversation and too many comments come through, you can't put them on the screen. That's not a Football Terrace problem. That's a StreamYard problem because it only allows a certain amount of comments to stay in. So if you super chat now and then 100 comments come in and I'm talking about something and I don't see it, I can't get it up on the screen in time. It's something that we have. I know a lot of YouTubers have put into StreamYard. What I'd like StreamYard to have is an option where it only shows me super chats. You can put them up, but it doesn't exist, my friend. So it's not about chasing missed super chats. They will get read out 9 times out of 10. I just can't help it. I think this is gonna court into minds with Chelsea because they are still trying to sort out the Camavinga situation. Yeah, that's very, very true. I do think that. The Koundé situation. And interestingly, what's important about that message from Simon Phillips that I've heard that Chelsea have spoken again to Tchouameni's representatives, we need to be very, very careful with that because he's also it's the same reps as Koundé. So it may be the truth that they've spoken to Tchouameni's agent, but it doesn't mean they spoke about Tchouameni. And that happened to Man United earlier on in the window. There was a lot of these talks about Man United held intense talks with, I think it was Sal Niguez's agent. And then it turned out, no, they did speak to Sal Niguez's agent, but it was about Kieran Trippier. It wasn't about Sal Niguez. So I'm not saying that they haven't spoke about Tchouameni, but the Koundé deal is definitely a priority right now. No doubt about it whatsoever.
Are you sure that you're going to get another midfielder in Manchester United this summer?
Well, the MEN just released a article or whatever, but there's a tweet saying Manchester United is still exploring the possibility of signing a midfielder this summer. So that's from the MEN, and we know that they get like direct contact from Manchester United. So it's one of those ones where the stories are slowly starting to build up to this midfielder. Like early on, I think maybe in the month or towards the end of July, it was Man United are prioritizing midfielder over a right back because obviously the Trippier deal fell through. We've had Camavinga talks come up. Now Tchouameni rumors come up. I think we can do this. I think this relies, from everything else that has been said, this heavily relies on loans and sales. Yeah. But if they come through, I think we'll sign a midfielder, and at the moment, I'm confident that it would be Tchouameni.
And do you know what's funny? That's the news again. I always go back to it because it's worth listening to them. If you listen to what Pete and what Dean have said on the Done Deal shows, nearly every week all summer, Man United are probably only going to sign midfielders if they sell players. So they were very bang on about that. You know, it's just they just don't do it. I keep having a pop at them. Really, not a pop. They should do it more sensationally. More people would listen. Do you know what I mean? We should do it like that channel. I don't know what they're called. I can't remember their name. You know, the Spanish outlet where they make it like they're fucking X Factor. That's what we should do with it. It's like every time they're going to tell us what's Man United's midfield problems, you get dramatic music on and just talk. Honestly, if you're a journalist, you want to be a transfer expert and you want to get the most traction, talk in bullet points. literally sit here and say Man United have had positive talks for Tchouameni. Personal terms are being worked on. When that happens, official talks will begin with the club. The deal could happen this summer. When you give information like that, everyone thinks you're amazing. When you say things like, when you go into finer detail and explain the pros and cons, everyone's like, oh, I don't understand it. I don't care anymore. Honest to God, it's like you boil it down to almost nothing. You get more traction than if you speak in detail. I agree with you here, Phantom. CFC Tops 100% has not put a super chat in because I've got the full list up here of all super chats, and that has not been put in today. So no porky pies, please. Has anyone actually watched Tchouameni play? I watched him on Y Scout. Y Scout's amazing. So yeah, that makes me an expert now.
YouTube compilations, baby. Let's go.
Maria Williams here says Dilly Dilly is legendary. Those streams are brilliant. So happy to see how far the terrace has come. Good lick tomorrow. Oh, what's that? Cheers, Maria.
Link.
Oh, Maria, come through, man. You still owe dinner.
Come through, and we'll order in some Just Eat or something. Honestly, that's what I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow, but I mean, if honestly, if Adam Child doesn't say to me, Terry, what we eating, I'm actually going to slap him in the teeth, bro, because that's a classic line. If you were ever in the studio with us, it was never like, what you eating? And Javern's there tomorrow, so Javern Capture it's probably got to come out as well. So I watched him on YouTube. Beat that, Terry. Oh, damn, there we go. There we go on that one. There we go. Let's have some more look at a few of these comments here, see what's coming through. There's another super chat that's just come through here. I hate this one match a week. I'm reeling from the Leeds match. I feel like we were winning everything this season. I need more sample evidence with more matches. Honestly, but I love the Concertina season because I just felt like every couple of days, in fact, it wasn't even every couple of days. Every day, pretty much, I was able to do a match review. And they're my favorite shows, match reviews, because there was always a game. You'd have like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And then by the Wednesday, there was another game. So there's sometimes just 1 day gap where we didn't have anything. It's going to be a lot slower this year, but I actually think it's going to build up the anticipation to games a lot more. I think the games are going to feel more, there's going to be more passion that's built up. There's going to be more anticipation. Because do you know what I mean? Like last time, it was almost, you just get over. We weren't even doing previews last year. We'd finish a match review and a couple of days would go by and you were getting ready for another game again. Do you get what I mean? Like there was never any downtime to assess and review things and everything else. So
no Europe for us, so it's going to be weird.
Your beard's weird.
Get used to it, bro. This is the feeling we're feeling every year for the next 5 years.
Stop it.
Honestly, bro. Like we got like Champions League for Ran at Manchester United, and you've got Tuesday nights at Weatherspoons Ben White, bro. Do you know what I mean? It's great.
Aren't you the same guy? Aren't you the same guy that said people make fun of McTominay because he's not exotic?
Yeah. Right.
So why are you making fun of Ben White? Because he's not.
Because he's not our player, bro. Who cares about Ben White?
Not so much that, KJ. I'm making fun of
the fact your player. You're English.
Whoa. I'm making fun of the fact that you're not in Europe. I said we've got Champions League Varane playing in the Champions League. You've got Ben White, who on the same night as we're in the Champions League, he's going to be in the Weatherspoons on the Tuesday club curry special. Do you know what I'm saying, bro? Like,
Champions League.
That's it.
You can't be watching Champions League Varane, baby.
Right over my head.
Oh, don't ban on my club. I can't take it.
I'm telling you, girls definitely the man them that love to give it out, yeah. But as soon as you start taking it, bro, the man starts going into a shower, starts crying.
Yeah, you were that guy at school, innit, right? You were always in the group. When anyone else was having the Mickey taken, you were laughing loud, pointing, yeah. And then when it was on you, you were like, miss.
I'm just saying it as it is. Look, I can't wait. I can't wait to play you guys in FIFA. So when I whoop your ass, you guys can't say nothing.
I ain't playing you in FIFA, bro. I'm like 10. I'm not a baby.
Nah, I thought you said we're having a FIFA tournament one day. Don't
play computer games.
Yeah, bro, I swear with all this smoke here, I beg you be good, because if I smack you up here, I will not let you live it down, fam. You love to talk too much. Talk too much. Man, or you know what it is? You play against 6-year-olds, fam.
Look at this comment. Look at this comment. That's why he ran from Monstars channel as soon as I came on.
That's a big lie.
Oh, funny. Yeah, he did. I honestly, right, I wonder what a gal did. Because a gal messaged me to come on the show. I sent him the link like 20 minutes and he didn't arrive. And I don't chase up because I'm working. And then I see a gal arrive and I see all these snake emojis. And I'm like, what's the gal done? What's he done? I said, get back on Monster Show. I was like, I guess then he obviously ducked. And I was like, you shouldn't do that. Like, because people will think it's me commanding everybody again. Do you know what I mean? It's not everyone. It'd be like, brave master has spoken. Like, you know, some people on socials are like, bruv, they believe anything. Do you know what I mean? Big up Monster as well, killing it over there. Channel growing massively. So massive well done to him. Absolutely smashing it over there. Tchouameni is just a good prospect and nothing more. Let me ask you a question, KJ. When we spoke about it much on the show before we end out, Ndombele, clearly not favoured at Tottenham. I think it's obvious to anyone with half a brain cell. Would you take him at Man United?
No.
Why?
What is he going to be doing? Might as well be playing rock, paper, scissors with Van der Beek on the bench, bro. Like he doesn't fulfill, right now, he doesn't fulfill the role that we need him to do in the squad. Like, he ain't a DM. He don't play like that. He's more akin to a Paul Pogba than he is to a Matic. And for me, I love the guy. I think he's sick. But if you told me right now, I could play a pivot of Bruno, I could play a midfield three of Bruno, Pogba, and Ndombele. No, bro. Are you mad? That is just asking for a beating, bro. You know Leeds, yeah? You know how to open up like the Red Sea, bro. That would be us. And I'm not here for it. Like, he's sick. If Paul Pogba left and we could get Ndombele, I'll be here for it. I'll be like, yes, let's go for it. But in terms of right now, there's no point of getting Ndombele because he'd just be sitting there with Van der Beek, like twiddling his thumbs.
I hear you on that. Hey, Gal, there's a question here for you from man like Indiana. He says, hey, Gal, what are you more angry at? Re-signing Odegaard, Xhaka's new contract, or Ramsdale for £30 million?
Xhaka's new contract, because that hindered us from moving on and getting a new player in of the level to be a starting central midfielder. The fact that we got Ramsdale, he's a backup currently. He's not starting. Odegaard was here last year, and I would have preferred Maddison. But the one that upset everyone the most and upset me the most was the fact that we're not getting another central midfielder. I wanted Bissouma. I would even be happy with the Neves right now. But the fact that Granit Xhaka is staying, I just know that we're going to be going through another season with Granit Xhaka in our midfield.
Yeah. Do you know what's mad to me is, I said about like people spinning stuff. I was legitimately seeing Arsenal journalists yesterday. They did articles about, they were sort of like, why going after, of course, Dean Jones breaking the news on Tuesday morning, all about the deal not being off. Big up the Dean machine. But there was a lot of articles early yesterday morning that I saw around why Ramsdale's a good signing, blah, blah, blah. But they all kept on quoting this like £20 million mark. And I was like, where have they got? You just had a £24 million bid rejected. We're saying like, this is how you know there is propaganda at play. When you're lying about how much a player's cost, like when you're trying to play down how much you spent on a player, because you know that 30 million on Ramsdale is a ridiculous investment. It's a ridiculous investment from Arsenal Football Club. That money, the irony, don't sign Ramsdale. Take that money and the Odegaard money. You've got James Maddison.
But do you agree with me, though, that the Xhaka contract is the one thing that's going to affect the starting 11 the most?
Yeah, I mean, look, the Xhaka thing, listen, in a year's time, if you get more money for him, then in the medium to long term, you could argue that it was a good move. You can. But you may end up finding that you end up in the same situation as, you might find that you end up in a situation where and I want to say this in the right way, where you end up in a Lacazette situation where you actually, last year you could have got some money for him and got his wages off your books. That would have earned you and saved you millions of pounds to go towards your spending. You might end up in a situation now where nobody comes in for Xhaka because he's now got a pay increase. So in a year's time, if he hasn't improved, people are going to offer you less money for him. And he's now on more money, so they're less likely to want to buy him, right? Because they might be like, you know what? We were going to offer him his wages last time, but now he's on 30 grand a week more. We can't afford him. So it's a big gamble from Arsenal. I definitely get your view. There's no, like, it stopped you from going after Neves's and Bissouma's as it stands. You still might go after Aouar. Like, Aouar might still come in. And he's a very good player. But then you get into that situation of...
What? Wait. Aouar might still come in.
Listen, I wouldn't write it off. I would not write it off right now when it comes to Arsenal. Spurs are looking at him. I wouldn't write it off. You may still have somebody else come in. You may go after a right back in that position. But if not, it's just all those three decisions that are mentioned there by Indiana, for me, are just cheap. Cheap is expensive. That's all I'm going to say. I know Arsenal fans are going to hate it, me saying it. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm only trying to keep it real. Listen, everybody that's tuned in today, thank you very much indeed to all of our super chatters today. Thank you very, very much indeed. All your names have gone into the prize draw to win a shirt of your choice at the end of the month. And to the people, one person today that signed up to our membership scheme. We're back later on today with more content for you. Remember, tomorrow night, 6 p.m., the launch of the brand new Friday night show on the Football Terrace. Make sure you're tuning in. I'm going to put the link out today so that you guys can start, setting your reminders and everything else. I'm going to get a nice big audience in for that. Lots on that show. Man like Marlon Harewood in. We're unveiling our brand new mural, a dedication to three exceedingly good Premier League football players. We've got games aplenty. We've got higher techers that we're launching. Big Arsenal Chelsea preview live on that show as well. So make sure you're there. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. And